Hello and welcome to the first ever LEWiki builds. This is GeoGalvanic. Here today I'm bringing you the Flicker Shield build. The basic concept behind this build is using Shield Rush, and we're using the Mana Memory and Rush of Sacrifice nodes down here to spam Shield Rush and basically flicker across the screen all over the place. So I'm just going to be going over kind of the basic overview of the skills and nodes that I picked in the build, and then at the end I'll have like a small clip of some of the gameplay that this build has in Arena. So with the Shield Rush, as I mentioned, the Rush of Sacrifice, we lose 15% of our current health when we do the Shield Rush, but Shield Rush no longer has a cooldown. Mana Memory also gives us our mana back whenever we use the Shield Rush, so we can spam it pretty much indefinitely. The other things that we've taken in Shield Rush are the Dark Rush node, which allows us to not have a shield while we do Shield Rush. And then we've also taken the added Void damage nodes at the end of that as well. We've taken the second wider hit, and we've taken some extra damage for the wider hits at the end of the Shield Rush as well. So this should allow us to deal a significant amount of both void and physical damage with the Shield Rush, which is important for how we are going to sustain the Shield Rush. Our main sustain for the Shield Rush comes from our passives, primarily from World Eater, which gives us melee damage leeches health and void damage leeches health. So for all of the health costs that it costs us to cast Shield Rush, we'll usually gain that back from the damage that we deal to enemies via the health leech. Our passive in the Sentinel tree were primarily the block and counterattack nodes, just to increase the defensiveness of the character. In the Void Knight tree, we took a bunch of points in Abyssal Endurance to increase our health. And then, as mentioned, we took the World Eater nodes. We also took the Sorrow and Steel nodes to increase our void and physical damage, which increases all of our damage from the Shield Rush. We didn't max out the World Eater node because we have plenty of health leech, that we have enough to sustain ourselves without having to worry about getting more health leech. So we've essentially capped it out, at least for now. We took all of the added void damage added to our melee attacks, which also increases our amount of void damage that we deal. And then further up the tree, we also took the strength nodes. We took Void Aegis to increase our defensiveness, and then we took Dread to also increase our void damage, and Woe to increase our melee damage. So we got a lot of damage nodes coming out from our passives. As for our other skills, we use Lunge as our primary movement skill. So we did take the extra lunge charge from double strikes. We also went and spent points on the added strength for lunging might, so we can use lunge as a way to get a brief buff for our shield rushes. And then we also took the Unstoppable node, which makes you invincible when lunging. Our other most important skill is the Abyssal Echoes. Abyssal Echoes, we took primarily the node that allows you to cast it instantly. This means that we can cast Abyssal Echoes while we're using Shield Rush. The other important thing that we took down here is the Temporal Blight, along with Dissolving Blight, so that it will reduce their armor, which increases our effectiveness with the Shield Rush. And then we just also took some increased nodes to increase the effectiveness of that debuff. We took a couple points in increased melee damage so that we can leech more health. And then we also took Volatile Reversal, which has two primary uses. The first primary use is, what I'll usually be using it, is the Harbinger of Dust node over here, which makes enemies hit by the Void Rifts created from Volatile Reversal, which you get from Terminal Void Rift and Incipient Void Rift. It gives debuff to the enemies, which increases the damage that they take. And then we also took some nodes over here to decrease the cooldown of the volatile reversal so that we can use it more frequently. The other use of volatile reversal is in combination with shield rush. When you take the shield rush node that gives you the rush of sacrifice, you have to take desynchronous charge along with it, which makes you return to the location where you were used it from. This is not ideal if you're looking to travel around, which is why we invested in lunge. However, if you do have a long corridor that you want to travel down with shield rush, you can use that in combination with volatile reversal to return to where you were previously rushing. So I'll kind of show an example here where I'll go as far this way as I can. I'll do my shield rush. So I rushed, I count to 2. Try it again, messed up. So it is a bit tricky with the timing, which is why it's not as useful as getting the lunge. So we rush, and then we wait 2 seconds, and then we... If I were smart, I would edit this out, but I'm probably too lazy to edit it, so bear with me. Going on the hills is what's throwing me off. There we go. 2 seconds, and then we are where we were previously charging from. So that covers most of our skills. We did specialize in Vengeance just in case for fighting bosses. However, we are using Ephemeral Stance on our skill bar. Ephemeral Stance increases our physical and void damage, which increases our damage with the shield rush. And the downside to that is we lose % of our current health whenever we use a skill. However, that's not too much of a downside because we're already losing % of our current health whenever we use shield rush anyways, and we're just regaining that back with our health leech. As far as our itemization goes, I currently have a Dream Thorn equipped. However, the best item is probably going to be a Doom Blade, on which you craft melee void damage, melee physical damage, and some defensive suffixes. We have the health leech siphoning on the amulet, and you can also get it on the gloves as well. And then the rest of the gear is all defensive. The defensive affixes that we've really focused on are the chance to receive a glancing blow and health. The reason why base health is so important is because it increases the amount of health that you can get back with your leech. If you only have a very small amount of base health but a high amount of protections, you're not putting the leech that you gain to full effectiveness. So that's why we specialized in health instead of something like void protection. And then you can also get the set health on the rings, relic, and amulet as well, are very nice. So the full description and details for the entire build are available on the wiki. I will have a link to everything down in the description below, so feel free to check that out. So I'm just going to do 5 waves in the arena here just so you can get a feel of what the combat looks like. And you'll notice that it really is a bunch of flickering around on the screen. So one of the primary advantages to doing this is that the enemies don't have a chance to actually target you and hit you with their skills. So even if your damage is a little bit on the lower side, or even if your protections are a little bit on the lower side, the fact that you're not going to get hit all that often is going to save you a lot of the time. It is a bit heavier on the CPU side of things, just because of the amount of times that you are using the shield rush. And so basically the chain is just shield rush around the enemy, occasionally casting Abyssal Echoes, occasionally lunging towards them, and casting Volatile Reversal every now and again as well. This is going to make you jump all over the place, but as long as you know what your skills are doing, what you're pushing, you should be able to keep track of your character. And there we have it. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a comment down below. I appreciate any input you have on the build or anything that you think I should work on in regards to the build template on the wiki. I would definitely recommend checking out the build template on the wiki, as it is also a resource that you could use to find other builds or make your own build if you have one in mind as well. Thank you for tuning in. This has been GeoGalvanic. Enjoy the rest of your evening.